and welcome back to Whom It May Concern. Blessing your radios this morning is me, Mariam, and my co-hosts Malak, Inara, and Huayla.
Hey, Assalamu alaikum.
Hello.
Salam.
So today we're going to talk about an interesting topic. It's stressful for most, fun for some, but really awkward for everybody, I'm going to say. And it is the marriage process. So let's get a little bit of thoughts on this.
So by marriage process, we're talking about the whole process of like the guy coming to your house with his family and your family, and you guys.
Doesn't even start there. Like even like the beginning part, how we even get to there. So how far back are we talking?
Probably from the beginning. You catching someone's eye or
Catching the guy's eye or the mom's eye?
either
Well,
one.
different people in different cultures have different processes.
So we're talking about more of the Arab culture, I would say, because obviously that's the culture we're born and raised in.
Yeah,
So we can really only
Palestinian.
talk about from that experience.
There's different strategies to this thing.
So someone hears about you or sees you and is interested. They phone your parents, and now they're coming to your house.
Wait, I want to start at mom game. Can we talk about that?
You
my
guys,
God.
moms, some of them have no game.
If someone comes up to you and be like, "Oh, are you interested in getting married?" What are you gonna say?
I always say it depends. It depends on what kind of brother you're.
She describes her son and you're like, I think not.
I'm too young.
Not
No.
today, not today.
I'm too young. And then they're like, how old are you, Khalto? 23.
No, honestly, it does depend on how she asks, but that is an awkward question. As soon as they ask me,
It's like the stupid question.
are you looking to get married? And that it's just like in my head though, it really does depend on who
And I'm sure
the guy is, because I don't know him for me to be like, yeah, I'm looking to get married, because it automatically gives her the answer that yes, I'm willing to sit with him, even though I don't know any information. So that's for me. That's why I'm like, that question is very difficult, because you really don't know who he is, and I can't say like, and it's rude if she does share with me who he is, and I'm like, that's really not what I'm looking for, to say no to that.
Like, if a mother does see you and they're interested in you, like, how would they go about it then?
I'm sure it's awkward for them too.
Yeah, like, it's a weird process for everybody, but I can't,
You
I
like
can't
it-
fathom another way for them to
No,
kind of...
I've had people who would find like my mom and talk to my mom,
Yeah, that helps.
like an adult that's with
Or
me,
friend.
or a friend, and go through that, and they'll like ask, is this what she's looking for? So it's not like directly towards me, and I kind of like that approach. But even before that, when I was saying moms have no game, there's some moms that literally come up to me, and the way that they approach is like
Aggressive.
aggressive. Yeah, like I had one lady, I was walking at the mall, I had one lady start shouting.
Oh,
And then me and my friend were like literally, so me and my friend were talking, and I had no idea somebody was trying to get my attention, and I turn around and I see this lady, and I was so confused, and then she's like, oh, like let me show you a picture of my son, and then she was like all up in my face, like no personal space. Slow down, like you didn't ask anything about me, you're just like,
Assuming I'm open to it already.
yeah, it was just like, but anyway, so I was obviously really polite, and I was like, like on, and when she showed me the picture, I was like, oh, like Khaliliki, yeah, whatever, like really
Yeah.
nice stuff, and then I told her I wasn't interested, and then she literally goes to my friend, she's like, okay, how about you, like how about you?
that's hilarious.
I was gonna say, I don't think, like, I'm not so much concerned with mom game, because I know it's just as awkward for them as it is for me, especially if you say no, you're not ready for marriage. But one really big thing I find is, like, when one woman travels between groups.
Oh,
Like, that's what I don't like.
wasn't there a lady at Qiyam was jumping around groups?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm
One
saying.
time we were at the
masjid.
masjid for like Qiyam and Fajr time, and this lady was going from one group of girl to the next, and
And she
we're
was
all
asking,
looking
like,
at her like, "What
she's
are you doing?"
asking like 2 or 3 girls per group if they're interested. And we're like, we're just gonna go back to reading the Quran.
I mean, the thing is though, like if you think about it, the way that whole process when it's done that way, it's kind of like getting married for the heck of getting married. So it doesn't even matter who the person is. It's just like
It's so objectifying too, because the only thing you see
Yeah.
about me is my looks. For example, the lady at the mall knew nothing about you, but she was like, okay, you're a Muslim and you're pretty, so let's go for it. She didn't care about your brain, she didn't care about your career,
that's
didn't
how
care about
it is.
any of that stuff.
but at that point, she's not. Like, she's looking to see if you guys would like to pursue getting married. Like, she's not saying, oh, that's it, you're going to marry my son. She's kind of just saying, like, okay, are you open to the prospect of marriage? You're somebody that maybe I could see my son end up with, like, would you be willing to sit and give him a chance? That's where it's coming from. Okay, so let's progress throughout this marriage experience. So we say, like, the mom saw you, the son saw you, whoever saw you, called your parents said yes, their parents said yes, they're coming over, they get to your house. What then?
Anxiety.
Anxiety.
annoyance.
No, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I know a lot of people are like don't like the process, and they're like, oh my god, this is super awkward. You can look at it that way, but me, I'm just like, okay, like this could be fun at my home.
No,
With my
that's
parents.
With
not
800
fun.
people there.
With all my siblings hiding but actually listening, you know?
Yeah, that's not fun at all.
No, I think it's an awkward experience for everyone involved. Like, I think everybody just doesn't know what to do. Everybody doesn't want to push the boundaries, whatever. But personally, I don't feel like I would have it done any other way.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like
I really don't.
I do like the process, even though it is uncomfortable, it is super awkward, but I do think, like, it shows the guy in the family is serious in pursuing you, and that you get a chance to actually, like, sit with him, talk with him, your parents are on board. I like to know that my parents are happy, his parents are on board as well, and
But that's exactly it. I don't like how serious it is so quickly. Literally the first time, and all of a sudden everyone's coming over and this and this and that, and then everyone's up in your business. Oh, do you like him? Do you not? Do you think yes? Do you think no?
But
it's
I don't-
so quick.
But after the first time, it doesn't mean that you're gonna marry him. It just means that if you are compatible, you guys see, common interests.
then you'll talk to him another couple more times, then have to decide.
But I mean, like, marriage is a serious thing. like-
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying. How can you make? I would want to know it's leaning more towards a yes or no before he even comes to the house.
But how would that look like?
No, yeah, like, how would you go about doing that?
I don't. Then you'd have to know before.
And like keeping it halal.
So, like, it'd be somebody that you're maybe in school with or you go to work with, like, somebody where you've seen their different aspects already, like, you've already been exposed to it.
I mean, if you are lucky enough to find someone in work or school, but I don't. If you aren't, I don't know
Yeah.
how you'd go about it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, when he's coming to your house, you know it's serious. You kind of know that the intention really is marriage. Because it's so easy these days for people to say, oh, I'm interested in you because I want to get married to you. And reality, not everybody is. Whereas,
I feel like that's not
like, you
the
coming-
case nowadays.
You can't come to my father and say, oh, I want her for marriage and just kind of mess around. Versus, like, if it's just me and you that know about the relationship, anything can happen.
One of the biggest perks, in my opinion, with that whole process is the fact that both parents are on board already. Because there are so many situations where people will get into a relationship beforehand and the parents don't agree with that person or that person's family or what have you, and they'll refuse it. And they'll be, like, super stubborn about it, and it will just cause so much conflict and so many hardships. So to have the parents on board from the get-go is one of the best things that you can do if you're seeking marriage, in my opinion. But also, the process is so awkward. Like, to have to think about so many things, like, where am I strategically going to sit? How am I going to look? Who's going to think what about who? It's too many factors that take away from what you're actually supposed to be looking at, which is a person's character
and the
and
more
who they
peop-
are.
the more
But that's
people
only the first
involved.
sitting. That's like the first sitting. But I feel like after a couple of sittings, then it will become natural. Like you'll feel comfortable.
No,
like it'll get
my
easier.
thing is the more people involved, the more confusing it is.
because too many opinions.
Exactly. So it's like, and you don't even have the space or the time to form your own opinion.
I do think though parents do have good insight, and there are certain things that should be put in place. If the guy's own parents aren't coming, honestly, that would be like
A red flag,
questionable.
an
That is
indicator.
questionable. Allahu alam, like, but that is questionable. That does bring up. Yeah, like a red flag. Maybe that should be looked into more. Are his parents not on board? Does he not get along with his parents? Whatever the case may be, it's not normal.
I just feel like, regardless, both sets of parents should be on board. Like,
Of course.
I feel like it takes away also your vulnerability. Because when it's a matter of just, like, you and him talking and nobody else is notified or nobody else is in on it or anything, then you're, like, putting your heart on the line. You know what I'm saying? You could easily develop a relationship, fall for the guy, nobody else supports it, nobody's for it. You end up falling in love, falling hard for the guy, and in the end, the relationship doesn't work out. Or
What
he
if-
ends up liking somebody else or whatnot.
I mean, you usually know if like the guy's gonna ask, and you just give your parents the heads up, and they're usually like more understanding if they meet the criteria of your parents as well.
Okay, so moving on from that, we're finally, both of you are interested in each other. What type of questions do you think you should ask one another?
So right now he's in your home.
He's in your
parents.
home.
This is
or
the
you're
first time
talking-
you guys are sitting together. What kind of questions are you asking?
Honestly, it depends. I feel like some people are like, hey, let's just see if we have some sort of chemistry and if we just like click. And some people are like more like, I have certain questions that I need to make sure right off the bat before we even go on a second sit down.
Yeah, because if you have these certain values, it doesn't matter how much we can talk to each other. It's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the type of person where I feel like the first, it's like easier questions like, oh, what do you like to do in your free time? Or like, you know, what do you do?
So
Where do you
chemistry.
work? Yeah, kind of your basic information before I dig deep. And I kind of want to just get comfortable first because it's already such an awkward sitting.
Yeah.
We were just sitting with 35 relatives, like,
Yeah, I want to get just basic talk, feel the chemistry, see if it's worth it.
Hola, you're a chemistry major. Like,
No, that's
Oh,
exactly
that makes
why.
sense.
And then I don't open up to people that quickly. So it's like, if it comes again, it's like I can't get into the deep conversations or the hard questions because I never know what to ask or how to ask it. For me, it takes me a while before I start like trying to get that deep.
I have questions in mind, but I make it flow. So in case like it gets a little quiet, I'm like, okay, like I'm ready for a question. That isn't. It just depends on when. Like usually in the beginning, yeah, it's lighter conversation, but it is more focused on marriage. Like I think this is why we're meeting. So I focus on things that I know. Like I need to vet this guy out. Listen, I'm either gonna continue with you because we see like we have common interests, we see like the similar lifestyle and whatnot. Like there's some compatibility. So I kind of do vet that within the few
I hate
couple
the
of sit-downs.
question. What do you see and what do you want in a spouse? I hate that question.
But I feel like that's an important question to ask.
Those are hard
Like,
questions.
or not
What do you
necessarily
even say?
what do you see in a spouse, but kind of like, yeah, like what are your expectations? Like what do you expect from your wife? Do you just want somebody that cooks and cleans and takes care of the kids?
First of
I
all,
hope
if they
not,
say
but, like,
if they do want that, are they gonna say that?
Yeah, they do.
some people are very honest when it comes to that stuff.
And-
Because they're like, listen, I'm here, I'm talking to you, I'm serious about marriage. This is what I expect you to do. You can either do it or you don't.
I sat with someone who was.
He said, "I want you to cook and clean."
Yeah,
and
he
stay
kind
at
of.
home.
I mean, he didn't say it disrespectfully, but he did say that. He did. He made it clear that his wife was going to be stay at home, that she would cook, clean, that was all going to be on her, and that he was going to take like a traditional kind of like wifey
household.
role and like a husband role. Like he made that clear. That's what he wanted.
Yeah, same. I sat with someone that was literally like, my wife working is a red line. Like, that's a big no for me. And in my head, I was like, okay, well, we can talk about whatever else in the world matters, but it's not gonna happen. Like, I don't
You're kinda
care if
sitting with
me
some
and you.
weirdos.
No, if I don't care if me and you both
I didn't say
like
that.
Harry Potter. But the big issue is you don't want me to work, I want to work. Okay, like, that's
Well,
it, like, it's done.
Yeah,
But-
for me that was clear that this is not going to.
But that's why I'm saying I feel like when they're actually coming to your house, there's not really a sense of joking. Like it's like all seriousness, like out
That's
on
not
the
true.
table. Like I think that's
like
the
you can throw
reason
jokes
it-
and sarcasm
No,
and
of
like.
course. I mean, you're not supposed to, like, don't be a stickler and have a notebook with a bunch of questions and just read them off the bat.
I
But
had
I'm
one
just
friend who
saying,
did that, actually, which was so funny.
That's a little too much.
She said, I thought I was going to forget my questions.
No,
She had
I'm
a
just
paper
saying,
in
like,
front of her.
if they're making the effort to come to your house and, like, see your family and talk to you, then you know they're serious about marriage and this is what they're looking for.
But
I think
what?
one of the ways to get somebody to not say exactly what you want to hear is not to ask a yes or no question. You should
Oh.
ask like an open-ended question and then have them respond.
and have a conversation.
Yeah, like for example, do you pray 5 times a day? Like who's gonna be like, actually, no, I miss a lot of them all the time. No, but to be like, oh, what do you think? What would you describe your relationship with God like? So
Or
it's
what's
asking
your
the same
hardest part?
question, but not so yes or no. So you're always getting the answer
Yeah,
that
keep
you
them
want to hear.
open-ended to hear more. And I feel like when you have that individual like open up more, you get to hear more, and they end up spilling more than they wanted to. It could be good or bad.
They kind of walk into it because they're just like, they just start conversating at that
Yeah.
point. What's the one thing that would definitely make this relationship a no?
See, like I can't ask those questions, and I can't. That's because I can't answer them. I find it so difficult to answer those questions.
Those are hard questions for me too.
I mean, yeah, when I'm on the receiving end, it's a hard question, but when I'm giving it,
Well, I'm not gonna ask a question I can't answer.
Yeah, usually they throw it back at you, like, "Oh, how about you?" And I'm like, "Darn it, why did I have to ask?" I'm just kidding.
she's like, "Can we come back to that?" Pass.
Literally.
It is such an awkward experience.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say, like, you can't really gauge how that person's personality really is. I mean, are you even the same person when it's like that awkward and you're trying to be this and that? You
I
know what
become
mean?
extroverted.
Hey, Nada.
So, and that's not how you really
I'm
are.
more
I
of a
feel like
listener.
I become the opposite. I become introverted.
So it's like no
Like,
one's
I
really
see
acting
kind of like-
themselves. So it's like, how do we even
It's not that I'm not acting
decide?
myself. It is acting myself, but because I'm uncomfortable, and my uncomfortable self will become extroverted.
Well,
Because
that's
I feel
what I
like
mean.
Like, that's what she
obviously
defaults
you
to.
are
I'm
yourself.
still Inada.
You are yourself, but you are not your your normal
But
self.
yeah, it's not my norm.
Yes.
But like, I don't see another way of doing it. That's my thing. Like, I understand the
I feel like
experience is
most
weird, but
people-
I can't. Like, I don't think of another way going around it.
Here's the thing, though. I feel like an issue now is just that most guys are already like dating some girl. So even if a mom comes up, like moms aren't even coming up anymore, and even if they do, it's usually like
Like, we know your son's taking khalto.
No, I do see that a lot of like girls that are younger than us, I do see that through organizational work or through work, through school, a lot of them are kind of like meeting in that way. I also have noticed a lot of people through social media will get like messages and like people have asked for them. And I had this one individual who would, not to me, to someone else, who would message, and at first they were more like just playing the friend type. Like, oh, hey, how's it going? Oh, like, I think I've met you before, whatever. And then when my friend was like, shut him down, listen, I don't do this friend thing, that's when he's like, okay, like the reason why I did reach out to you was because of marriage and whatnot. But a lot of people
marry someone
are,
you
I
don't
know a lot of stories where people are meeting through social media, literally just through like pictures and
and
whatnot.
like you said, a lot of times it's organizational work and stuff like that, because typically when you work with a person, when you go to school with a person, like whatever, you're usually exposed to more than one side of the person. So like if I could see you in your natural, like we
Your
said,
natural
actually,
habitat.
like yeah, like we said, the marriage process is a little awkward. So if I'm seeing you how you are naturally, and I see when you're upset, I see when you're annoyed, I see, and then like you could still have that prospect of marriage. I think that's why the relationships kind of work, and that's why I do agree with Khwaila. If you do find someone in school or at work and they really are interested, I don't think it's a problem to like develop feelings for somebody and to be interested. I just think that the next step in that would be approaching parents.
Okay, then do you guys agree there's this huge trend marital apps that are coming out these days? Because people are struggling to find somebody in the traditional way and work and school, because I feel like we're all so busy like
It's
trying to be at work and school. So what do you guys think about that?
It's actually funny because the last year's ICNA convention, we were walking in the bazaar, and then we passed by this booth, and it's like a booth for people to sign up. Like, you put your information, you fill out a profile, and then they try to match you with somebody. So it's not necessarily an app, but it's like a third person, like a middle person, comparing profiles. And I was kind of just mind blown because I'm like this is so okay now, and I find that so weird.
Because there's so many people having that issue.
And
Yeah,
I think it's
I-
privileged in a sense to not have that issue, because your family is well connected. They know a bunch of people. They know a lot of people from the community. But a lot of people whose families aren't that well connected, or let's say they're mostly introverted, or they are so focused on school or work, they don't have the opportunity to meet these people or know these people that have sons or
I
daughters.
feel like even people that are well connected are still having issues now.
Mhm.
Like there's so many girls our age or older that are not married either.
Yeah, so I think online marital apps does serve a community. You know what I mean? I feel like it is another way to get married, so it's not a bad thing. I just feel like there's some apps that are more serious than others. You know?
Yeah. But I mean, then what's the difference? Because with those apps, you're getting to know the person. Are you like having your parents in those messages?
You
or-
could
That's
add
an
a third
option,
party.
actually.
You could add a
Really?
third party.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
could
know that.
But you could add a third party, so you don't necessarily have to. But like
These apps are what you make.
Like,
of it.
does that border? I don't want to say haram and halal, but like, aren't you getting into that gray area at that point?
I don't think so. The intentions are clear.
Yeah, and I feel like the way that they set it up is a way that's supposed to be halal. But I feel like in general, like if I were to go on these apps, I would notify my parents.
Yeah.
Like I would feel guilty.
No, I know.
Maria,
are
we
super
met
pious.
someone.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say people that are super pious that have met their spouses through these apps.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
yeah,
and
I
Maryam
mean,
actually
I would
met.
like you. We can never say what's. I didn't mean to say what's haram and halal. Like, you know, I'm not saying that
Yeah.
if you use it, it's haram or halal. Or I don't know how it even works, honestly. I was just like kind of thinking out loud.
I think it depends on the person. If you choose to use the app in the wrong way, it's gonna be used in the wrong way. But if you're gonna use it in the right way, then you know, I guess.
And Maryam, me and you have heard like of successful actual marriage that happened. Like we were sitting and we were in a class and a girl next to us was like, "Yeah, I met my guy from Hafardine." And we're like,
Yeah, which
what?
we were like kind of super awkward. we were like,
It's like
who,
so
who
taboo.
announces that? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
we
so
were
taboo
surprised.
though. I don't
Yeah.
know. I
But
don't know
that's-
why, but it is.
But that's why seeing it at the convention, I was like, whoa, like, you know, before nobody even talks about it. Like, we had known that there are services and stuff like that maybe you could do, but nobody ever outwardly talked about it. So for them to, like, have a booth, I was like, wow, like,
it's like normalized.
yeah, like, this is definitely a community
Nope.
thing now.
Or
But-
they have those activities too, where it's like sign up and then you guys
There's
go
like
and like
game nights and stuff.
Yeah.
But I honestly do still think that it is still a stigma if you say that you go on these online
Oh, it is.
marital sites. Like,
Because it makes it seem like, oh, you're desperate
Or what's
Or-
wrong with you that nobody's
It's
interested?
like, yeah, like you're so vulnerable with it.
Yeah, so like I feel like the Daisy community has done a really good job in making these things normal. Like they naturally do this whole like bio data. Their parents are always involved in like these different sites. I've always heard my Indian and Pakistani friends that do this like
On sites?
yeah, there's like websites and stuff like they've had this before these apps came about, girl. They,
Oh,
they had
so
the
the
online
Aunties
website.
are sharing profiles and like.
Yeah, like no, there was actual websites, and then like now we're more developed and have app. But I feel like the Indo-Pak community does a really good job in really trying to find spouses for their children.
But yeah,
But I do say you
it's very stigmatized, not just by the parents. I think even by the people our age and younger. It's,
yeah, even myself, I'm
Yeah.
guilty of that. I'm not gonna lie. Not that I look at other people who do it in a bad way. I think like, hey, like I get it. We're all looking to get married and like do your thing. But I myself,
Wouldn't do it.
I can't because I feel like not necessarily because of like what people might say. I just feel like I don't think I take that seriously when I see somebody's online profile. Like I need that when I went back to our conversation where I like to see somebody actually there opposed to like texting and whatnot. I feel like it makes a difference, and I feel like I don't trust people behind these profiles, so I
Yeah.
will not end
Oh.
up taking it serious.
You're not comfortable.
Yeah,
either.
like I can't see myself just being like, oh, yeah, like talking to somebody that I really don't.
No,
No.
like if you've never seen them, how are you just gonna like start talking
Yeah.
to them? That's my issue too.
Online marital apps are an option, but I feel like a lot of people are also like not finding the one through that, and then people are struggling through organizational work, through school. Like a lot of people are having a hard time, guys and girls, trying to find that someone. Do you think it's because we're becoming too picky in what we're looking for?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think it depends on the individual. But ultimately, you just want someone that you can you're compatible with.
Like, are we looking for a perfect person, like our soulmate, and that individual doesn't really exist?
Yeah, I think in general the way we think of marriage is very unrealistic. But I feel like I don't know. I don't think we're being too picky. I feel like you should have certain standards that you shouldn't want to start to compromise with just so you can get married.
Especially if you're the type of person that knows themselves and you've been, like, you're just generally a good person and, you know, you waited for marriage to go about doing things the right way. Like, yeah, you have standards. And I do agree that sometimes when you expect everything to be perfect, that's not realistic. Like, that's just not going to happen. You're going to have to give and take on certain things. But like Khawaira said, I think there are certain standards that you should uphold for yourself, especially knowing the type of person that you are. And when other people tell you you're being too picky about that stuff, I don't think you should waver in that at all.
It's hard though, especially when as you get older, people are like, "Oh, you should just settle."
I've had a friend honestly who like opened up and she said like it's people are telling her because she was like older and she was like people are telling me like, oh, I'm being too picky, like they think that I'm just saying no left and right because, and people start assuming things like you have somebody in mind or
They just start judging.
yeah, they start judging you and you're just like, no, like I'm literally just not interested in the people that are asking, like I'm not being too picky, they're just not what I'm looking for. Like, I've always held a standard when I was younger, now that I'm older I still have these same standards and they're not going to change because of
My
the pressures because of my age and the pressures that I'm receiving from you guys. So it is real where people are experiencing this, where people are assuming they're being too picky,
which makes
But-
it even more difficult.
yeah.
Yeah, I don't agree with that whole just settle thing. Because I don't think, if you're just settling, I don't think you're ever going to be truly happy. I mean, there are some times where you don't think things are going to work out and you end up going with it and they do work out. And that's great. Like, that's good for you. It worked out. But I think if you're settling on the big things, it's just, I don't know. I just feel like you're never going to be that happy. Or how you envisioned your life to be. If you're settling on, like, on the small things is one thing. But if you're taking into account, like, your values, your morals, if you're letting those type of things, like, slip away just because you're reaching a certain age, I don't even think it's fair to yourself, and I don't think it's fair to your spouse.
In the end, there's not one right way. Everyone
Yeah,
just has to figure out their own way.
Definitely.
Literally, people you hear like their stories and it's like different for everyone.
I think the best advice you could give to somebody is kind of just, like, be open. Go with the flow, you know, if for the most part they're checking off all those big boxes. I mean, you don't lose anything by giving it a chance.
So, last part, waiting for the phone call, waiting for the yes, no part of this whole ordeal.
They usually, if it's a no, they won't call. It's just like
Which I think is so much worse.
it is like just say no. It's so awkward.
I think both should call back whether obviously if it's a yes, they're calling back. But even if it's a no, I think the sister or brother should call and notify the family, just so the person knows to like move on, that you're not keeping them waiting.
So
honestly.
usually the girl's family will never call. It's always just waiting for the guy's family. And if it's a yes, they'll call, depending on how they want to make it seem. If you call too soon, oh, are you
Too desperate.
not just desperate, like, oh, that means he must really like you. And if you wait a little bit, like, oh, they're thinking about it. And then if you just never hear back, that's a no.
Yeah, but
I just think it's hard for either side to say no, and then that's kind of where that comes from.
Yeah,
you know,
not
like the guy
calling.
won't call to say no. Yeah, just because it's so awkward to be like, no, he wasn't interested or something like that. You know, it's hard to tell somebody, oh, I sat with you, I learned about you, and I don't like you.
that
You
is
know what
hard.
I'm saying?
But I feel like you have to understand,
Worse
like
to
if
just
you're
wait.
if you're the person who is being told no, I think you need to remind yourself like there's so many reasons as to like why they might have said no, but you can't take it personal. You know, like it could have been like he just saw there's no compatibility.
You guys barely know each other. How, like, whatever.
And like, you're a great guy, she's a great girl. Just you guys just wouldn't be good
Yeah,
together.
and the thing is, and I'm like, I feel bad to say no, because like Hoyle, you're saying like you barely know him, but from that one sit down, you're just like, I get a feel that I
no,
can't see
that's
a
what I'm
future.
saying. You barely know him, so why is it so awkward? You went through all that awkwardness in that one sit down. Just say no. That's not
Because
more
you feel
awkward.
bad. Because it doesn't. Nobody likes to be rejected. I don't care who you
Yeah,
are.
yeah,
It's not
I-
fun to
Yeah.
get rejected.
But I think it's worse to
Especially
just
if-
not hear back.
But especially if you were interested. Like, if you were interested and the other party said no, then it's
Yeah,
like,
that makes
oh,
it worse.
That's what I'm saying.
But it makes it easier if you only sat down with them a couple times. It's easier to move on because there
yeah,
wasn't
because
that
you don't know
relationship.
that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, sure, you're interested. You probably just thought he was cute. Like,
My
that's
only-
all that interest was.
Who's
My
attractive.
only advice about the whole rejection thing is there's so much more that you can have to offer to so many other people, and that's just one person. This is how we do things, and unfortunately, your feelings can be hurt, but to not let that rejection really affect you, because like you said, if you only sat with them one time, it's not like there was a relationship.
You might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you'll be that one person's cup of hot cocoa, and it will go great. And also, about the calling, I think they should definitely call. It's so awkward if you see them after the fact, and, like, they didn't call and say no, or you said no. It's just a lot more respectful and clear communication. To call and
When
be
do you
like,
ever
hey,
see them?
you see them around. We're a smaller community, quite up. It's just a lot more respectful to call and say, oh, you know, it's a no, but you guys were an awesome family. Thanks for letting us into your home and letting us get to know you. You know, inshallah khair for the both of them.
Yeah.
It's just so much nicer, so much cleaner ending. Everybody has closure versus like, oh, they didn't call. Oh, that means this. You're assuming what everything means, even though that's like a clear no. But you're assuming that intentions behind it were necessarily like not the nicest. When it could be easily like a clear, nice cutoff where if I ever met you in the future, it's still very
Cordial,
yeah.
civil. Yeah, I agree.
All right, guys, let's do rapid fire questions. Ready?
Sure.
How long should an engagement period be?
I think like
9 months.
9. Yeah, I think 9
What?
to 12 months.
I think it all depends on, first of all, with the couple ones, but if they knew each other before, they probably don't need that long of an engagement. But if they just met each other, then probably a little
Wait, it's
longer.
rapid fire, not a
Say
statement.
No, like,
Answer.
if you don't
Such
know
a
them,
med student.
No, jeez.
if you don't know them, you'd want longer. And if you knew them from before, and then you don't need that long of an
6
engagement.
months.
So it just depends.
I feel like 6 to 9 months. Yeah, I'm gonna say 6.
6 months if you just met the guy.
Next question.
no.
Should you ask a guy about his past?
Oh.
Once it gets serious.
Yes, I
Not-
think you have a right to
Like
know.
you sit down the first time, no.
Huayla, we're just asking you. Can you ask a guy about his past?
Yeah, once it gets serious. If it gets serious.
I'm gonna say in general, yes, depending.
Really?
In general, yes, depending.
I wouldn't want to know details though, just overall stuff.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, you can ask.
Like, if does he have a kid? Like, is that the past? You know, no, that's like present and future. But
or like,
I
are we
don't
gonna
know.
run into his ex when we're like shopping? Like, I don't know. That's weird.
Well, exactly. Do you want to know that's his ex?
But like,
Like, I don't want.
what does it mean by his
I
ex? Like,
feel
how
like-
long have they been in this
Exactly.
relationship?
So I would want general information.
Next question. Does he have to get along with your entire family?
Like extended as well.
No, brothers, sisters, parents.
Cousins too.
Oh yeah, definitely that.
Yeah, cousins.
No, but
So immediate family. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. Honestly, even for me, it goes a little past that.
Yeah,
I'm not even
extended
gonna lie.
family.
Because a lot of my extended family I see on a weekly
Often,
basis at
yeah,
least.
often
yeah,
enough.
so like there would be a certain level that he would have to get along with.
It doesn't have to be best
thing is,
friends.
yeah,
but I'd
like,
like for them to
yeah,
get along.
If you're just a normal person, you can get along
Like,
with
don't
anyone.
be rude. Yeah. Just don't be rude.
So that was interesting for the most part. Thank you so much to everyone for tuning in and listening to this week's episode of To Whom It May Concern. Please subscribe, like, and follow us on social media. We appreciate all the support we've been receiving this far. If you don't already follow us, you can find us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter at The Modern Skeps. Please continue to tune in every Tuesday, and we love to hear your input, so keep DMing us, keep commenting. We really love your guys' feedback. If you have any ideas you'd like for us to discuss or any topics, please email us at modernskeptics@gmail.com. Sincerely, The Modern Skeptics. P.S. Love happens when you least expect it.